You are listening to Any Given Sunday, Australia.
Yes, hello and welcome to the Any Given Sunday Australia podcast, the number one podcast in 3 households now. Joining me, as always, is our work experience kid turned pro, Danny Webb AGS on Twitter. How are you, mate?
Oh, mate, I'm good. I've been interacting with the Twitterverse all day.
You have taken over our Twitter and you are, mate, it's blown up.
That's absolutely blown up. Quadrupled our followers in one day. What we need is all our YouTube subscribers, all 1,000 plus of them, to jump on Twitter as well. Like us on Twitter, and we'll interact more through that.
Yes, I do believe. I'm just having a look now. We are live on YouTube, and it's different with 3. It's a nice setup. I like it. And we have a view. We have a viewer. I don't know who it is. Might be Cardi.
Yes, it is.
It is Cardi. Yes. Brilliant.
I was checking
Brilliant.
to see if it was working.
And speaking of, we have our usual TC24. What have we changed it to? Is it Tim Cardi AGS on Twitter?
On Twitter at Tim Cardi AGS.
Nice. So we're all on the Twitter. I'm TMac AGS. So we're all on the Twitterverse now. We are getting very, very technical and very, very advanced here. So
things are happening.
If anyone is willing to produce this for $0 pay, like the rest of us, jump on board. We'll get you started.
Deal with several headaches.
Yeah.
Every time we go on.
Correct.
It's the best way to frog hop your career. You go straight to the moon with this.
Yeah, absolutely. You're going to jump on the moon with us, which will be grouse.
You can't start work at the television networks. You got to start. You got to start somewhere.
You got to start here. You do have to start here.
Now look at him, full time. Weekly presenter.
but I'll never ever drop my work experience title. That sticks with me.
What if we do get another work experience kid?
Point of honor.
They can be called Shit Danny or something.
Yeah, Danny 2.0. Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. We are going to get straight into the Dr. Danny injury report, but it is the one bit of news that, unless you've been living under a rock in the NFL world, you have heard all about it. It is the safety out of the Cincinnati and Buffalo Bills game. Damar Hamlin, he has officially had a cardiac arrest on the field. The 3 of us, Cardi, I'm pretty sure you were watching it from home. The 3 of us were watching it live and messaging going, what the actual fuck is going on? Because it was a bit like that. We're just going to get straight, talk about it how it was, because I was sitting at home. I actually had it on my phone because I reckon it's school holidays. I reckon there might have been kids' TV on. And I got a message from you, Danny, and you said there's an ambulance on the field, and it wasn't on my phone just yet.
Oh, spoilers.
So I was like, we're going to turn this off. So I put it on the big TV, and just as I flicked over, that's when they said they've been doing CPR. So I was kind of watching it and going, it's just it might be a neck injury or something. They bring the carts on for a neck injury pretty regularly. But once they said they've been doing CPR, it escalated so quickly. Because we saw the hit live. In my eyes, it was a pretty routine hit. I reckon, Cardi, you'd be the same. Danny hasn't played as much physical sport as the rest of us. We'd lay those kind of tackles even in the AFL. Maybe not as square on or as big as a hit, but we definitely lay those kind of tackles where you hit across that mid-chest. You might clash heads a little bit. You just get up, you shake it off, and you move on. But just watching it, I know I've said to a few people now, I know I'm rambling a little bit, but it just took me back to, again, Danny, I don't know if you remember, but Carts definitely will. Phil Hughes, when he got hit, I wasn't watching that live because it wasn't live at the time. But a lot of reports coming in when it happened. And it just had that same feeling once they said CPR's been done. You just thought, oh, no, this is not, obviously it's not great. We've had experience with that kind of stuff with our work. And when that shit's happening on the field, that shit's gone south pretty quick. How did you, Carts? How was your initial response to it? How did you feel? And
yeah, well, like you said, my head went immediately to the Phil Hughes incident, which happened in was it a state cricket game here in
State
Australia?
cricket, yeah, yep.
Yeah, a few years ago now. But he copped a ball, similar area. If you watch a few replays, Demar sort of gets hit. Like it looks like the helmet sort of gets him a bit and under in that sort of similar area. So that was sort of what made me
100%.
think of like the Phil Hughes thing too. It was kind of similar because the same thing with Phil. He sort of staggered for a little bit and was upright after the ball hit him and then went down, which was similar with Demar. Like he got up, sort of jumped up and was standing there and then just straight down.
And I reckon that was, not to cut you off, that was the scary bit where he just dropped straight back. Like there was no stumble. It was just gone straight back.
No, and like no one there to catch him because like the other guys were sort of looking after the guy who'd been carrying the ball. And, like,
you're not expecting that, are you? No.
It was almost like get out of the way, Demar, and like he kind of jumped up and then he just boom, then he was down. And as you said, like I was a little bit behind. I was sort of once the messages came in from you guys, I put it on straight away. And like you said, as soon as you hear like CPR in progress and stuff, you're like, whoa, this is on a whole different level. Like this isn't your run-of-the-mill concussion or ligament, bone, any sort of normal injury. Like this is something else. This is something completely different. And it was pretty confronting. Even watching the footage, watching the coverage. Sorry, at the time. Yeah. I think they'd gone back to. Was that the studio in New York? Yeah, like even
wherever the studio is. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's Boogie and whoever the other two are like just lost.
Schefter and
Schefter, that's the one, and the host. They were just pretty lost for words and not wanting to say too much and speculate too much, which people are quick to do that sometimes in these situations. You got to be first to report on things, and like wrong information can get out. Like at least now we're a few days removed from it, we can sort of talk about it with a little bit more clarity now. But even still, we're not by any means experts or have any sort of inside knowledge. We can only just talk about what everyone else has been saying.
But that, I think it was just more, like you said, the confronting nature of, and you could see it in the presenter's eyes. They didn't want to say something to, like, not even give hope, but take away hope, or you don't want to say.
I'm just trying to play neutral. Like,
that's it. And then
we don't want to inflame the situation. But at the same time, we don't want to give hope. But the most telling thing was the looks on his teammates' faces and like their reactions. A lot of them crying. I think we saw Diggs crying. Maybe Josh Allen was crying. He definitely had his head in his hands, like for a long time, sort of like that. And just the shock and like concern on all their faces. That was really, this is really serious.
Yeah,
like,
and that's
holding.
Well, and credit to the Bills player, the Bengals players that came over. I think they grasped the magnitude of the situation pretty quick. Joey B was straight over to Josh Allen, and they embraced
it turned bigger than football pretty quick.
Yeah, absolutely.
They realized that pretty quickly, which was good. It was good to see. On field, I think getting compression CPR for 9 minutes, and then was sort of taken off in the ambulance, gone sort of within 20 minutes of the incident happening, I think. So looking back at it, like it's over quite quickly, but it felt like forever.
It did, yeah.
Yeah.
I saw someone.
Danny boy.
Yeah. So before I get to you, Danny, Dr. Danny, the man who knows probably more than all of us, I did see someone, and it kind of not struck home, but it was I thought a very valid point. Besides doing it in a hospital, they had trained medical staff there and staff that apparently they do drills for this twice a year at the stadium. So besides doing it at an actual hospital, it was almost as good a place for it to happen. Like they were onto him within seconds, really. And that's when they say, if you are going to have CPR performed on you, the quicker you get it, the better chances you've got. So realistically,
it increases your chances of survival.
Tenfold.
Yeah,
it's within. I think they're saying within every minute of you not doing CPR, it increases your life, chance of survival by 10%, which is incredible.
Yeah.
So every minute that you're missing is like 10% less chance. So the fact that they had hands on chest as quickly as they possibly could have,
seconds almost.
Yeah, as quickly as they possibly could have, obviously puts him in the best chance possible.
Yeah. So how about you, Danny? You were watching it live, and probably the first one across it out of us three.
Yeah, so first and foremost, like obviously our thoughts are with Damar Hamlin and his family. Obviously, it's a very troubling time for everyone in the NFL world, but also the world as a whole. Like it's worldwide news, everything that's going on. So yeah, our thoughts and everything's definitely going towards Damar and his family, and wishing him all the best, and hopefully the recovery, and we get a little bit more information soon. But yeah, I was watching live. I was completely in shock. I'm obviously relatively new to the whole NFL world. Like I hadn't seen an ambulance on the field before. CPR, and then I quickly had to cut to the studio. So it was, how it was, and yeah, like it was a completely somber feel on the field of like everything that was going on. It was incredibly serious, and like I was just shocked at home. Straight away, I was messaging other Bengals fans if he was watching the game, and he said he was. Bright, I think that's a lovely place.
Yeah.
Hard things to watch. It was quite confronting. Deal with so kind of having what was good, and yeah, like I was saying, it was actually transporting within. He had a at that point, but wasn't breathing on his own. It's uncommon in those situations. So the fact that he was transported in 16 minutes, it's plenty of similar nature, and I've never seen is also increasing his chances of.
Yeah, they definitely weren't mucking around, which is exactly what you want to see. But the fact that the rumors were floating around that the NFL had come down and said, 5 minutes warm up and we're going to play again. I think that has been not stricken, but like they've come out and said that it's just not true. We never said that. That's never come from. Obviously, someone has said it, but the NFL higher ups, Roger and all those guys have said, nah, it wasn't from us. So when that news came out, you saw Stephon Diggs trying to bring the team together, rev him up a little bit, tears in his eyes, if not streaming down his face, to be able to try and do that. And then I reckon the coaches had a lot to do with it. They came together and said, realistically, we can't. How are we going to get up and do this? Like, I've never been in that situation. Straight after. Once, I reckon it was pretty much called, the players would have known 20 minutes, half an hour before the rest of the world that it was not happening. So I think the coaches need a lot of credit for handling that situation that they're never going to be expected or expecting to be put into. Like it's obviously next level for them as well. So that they've become automatic. I know they probably are already, but like therapists or they got to look over their players and over their family and be like, these boys are not coming out after a 5-minute warm up and playing again. Like how would you be, Cardi, if something like that happened and with next tackle the guy's coming straight at you? Are you going to put your body straight back on the line?
Well, yeah, imagine the conversation or the speech that the coaches both had to give when they've gone back to their locker rooms. Just I don't know, just initially probably reassuring everyone and just trying to emphasize that obviously everything at that point was about Damar and no longer about the game, and like everything shifted, like we said before, like football wasn't the priority anymore.
Yeah,
and just there's no rule book written for things like that. Like this is an extremely rare occurrence, so there's no precedent set for how you're supposed to act in that situation and what you're supposed to do and what you're supposed to say. So I can only imagine how difficult it would have been for both coaches and just the strange feeling in both locker rooms after the incident happened.
Yeah, they said I can't remember who the reporter on the ground was, but she was like, Stephon Diggs is already in a towel getting changed, like saying,
Lisa?
I'm going to the Lisa Salter. Lisa Salter, is it?
I can't remember her surname.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure it's Lisa. Yeah,
but she was like, Stephon Diggs is already saying like, I'm going to the hospital. So the players knew very quickly, or just said, we're not going out there.
Well, that's what I mean. Like, definitely the coaches would have been leading that way, but it would have been player driven. Like, we're not playing.
Yeah.
Let's be realistic here. We're not playing the game. Whether it took a little bit for the NFL to catch up and agree or, whatever, but definitely would have been player driven, coaches agreeing, and then, essentially saying to the NFL, we're not playing, like, this game's not going ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to add. That was exactly what I was going to say. I think the players would have definitely turned around instantly as soon as they walked us. This is fighting this, and we need to get around to Mark. And the whole NFL world has, like, every team lighting up their stadium colors. They've all profile picture to number 3. So the whole NFL world got around him. But they were kind of, it was never going to happen. So when the rest of the world knew the game was not going ahead.
Yeah. But I don't know. Not feel bad, but I think the NFL, they copped a lot on social media. Like, why hasn't it been called yet? Why hasn't it been called yet? They're in the same boat. They don't have. There's no rule book for Roger Goodell to go. When a player is down cardiac arrest, the players need 15 minutes to warm up, not 5. They're running off the same rule book, or lack of rule books.
Yeah, absolutely. There's no written rules for this. Yeah, and there's no written rules for this, and I think that a little bit it is such a rare, and hopefully we'll see anything like it again.
Yeah, absolutely. Some good that has come out of this is, I don't know if you saw, DeMar had when he was in college, so it's a couple of years ago because he's his second year in the league now, and he had a toy for kids drive, I think it was.
Toy drive. So is this his foundation? So
he set it up while he was in college. So that's, I know a few people are like, why do you only want $2,500? But in college, and back then there was no NIL, so he wasn't made of money like I don't know what his contract is now at the moment. It's still only a rookie one, but $2,500 for kids back in his hometown, that could be huge. And the last I heard, which I could be well out of date, it was up to 6.6 million.
Oh, that's gone up since I last heard.
Yeah.
When I checked, it was crazy. So last now, so it's still quite incredible. It just shows how much communities are really getting around him.
Yeah, and I listened to, I don't know if it was his agent, it was a family friend, media mogul, someone who's on the inside and works with him.
His marketing agent.
Marketing, you know exactly what I'm talking about. He was on the Pat McAfee show, and he said that. You both know. He come out and said, that he was already looking at the start of the year saying we need to get, because all the players, they do camps, especially back in their hometowns. And he said, we're going to need sponsors. We're going to need this. They don't need that kind of stuff now. When he is, all the positive vibes, when he is back up and on his feet and being able to do these kind of things, he's now set to help people back home. And so that is one positive that has already come out of this, which I'm sure there's going to be more, especially when he gets up and about.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Comments and he's speaking on behalf of the family. He said that this was at some point today. It says signs of improvement, but we're still not out of the woods yet. But the fact that there's signs of improvement, they're trying to pull him out of, because they sedated him for 24 hours. It's just the procedure that they do in America. Sedated him for 24 hours while he was on the ventilator, and now they're trying to work on him breathing on his own, which he's doing intermittently. So, it's all heading in the right direction. It's just...
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, anything positive, anything that's moving in the right direction is a positive in my books, I think.
Yeah, exactly. And I think they spoke about it on the Pat McAfee show quite a bit, but it's not about, when's he going to return to football? It's about, is this guy going to make it through? And then what's his quality of life going to be like? It's like football is so far down the road of his recovery. It's all about just, A, make it through, and then B, what's his outcome? What's his quality of life going to be?
And then would he...
So,
after an event like this, would you want to play again? Because that comes down to that question as well. Obviously, it was your dream to play the NFL, but after something like this has happened,
I
think,
that'll be a person by person basis, I guess. Being the fact that he's only 24 as well, he's got so much life ahead of him. Us in our 30s, Danny, you're not quite there yet, but we're already on the downslope. he's got so much life ahead of him. Like you're right, he could get to a point and be like, you know what, I don't want. I know it was a 1 in a million hit, but you know, what if we're already at the back end of that 1 in a million? Like it could happen again, and it could be me. And there, so it could definitely. I would love to see him get back on the field. Like that'd be a very emotional game if he did.
Imagine the comeback. Like imagine
there'd be movies about this, sure.
Whoa, they're pretty big.
You did say it's not about the football, but there has been a few people that probably too quick got on their socials, and I don't want to name people, but Skip Bayless was one. He got on there within 5 minutes and was like, What are we doing about the game? You know, like everyone's like, he copped left, right, and center. Just like, what the fuck are you? Who cares about the game? Give it a couple of days at least. Like today, I feel like we could almost start to say, all right, what are we going to be putting in place? Because I know we spoke just before, Danny, and you've said, look, I've got no idea, and it is unprecedented. I said during the COVID times they had games on Wednesday. But they knew prior to the game. It wasn't if we were 5 minutes into the game and said, oh, we're going to come back tomorrow because someone in the crowd's got COVID. It was, you know, the team's got COVID. We got to give them an extra couple of days to see if they can get a team together. So people have put out, well, I said they play a game on Wednesdays and Tuesdays. You can't be playing this week on a Saturday or a Sunday and then saying, boys, we need you to play again on Tuesday before wildcard weekend on this weekend. Like, I know the Bills had a chance to be the number 1 seed still, but so they could have possibly the week off. But that's not fair on the Bengals, who I think they're actually still in a hunt if they had a 1. You can't say to them, we need you to play 3 and 1.
They had a 1 out and the Chiefs lost. The Bengals still a chance.
You can't say to them, we need you guys to play 3 games in a week.
No, it's too much. It's too quick of a turnaround.
So. Like, all I can say is like, all I can think. Yeah, exactly. Not everyone's 24 and can turn around and do it again the next day. Like, I went for a 10K run last night and couldn't walk this morning. Like, it's a bit, yeah.
Just show age. Just show age.
I know. I mean, calves. I need to put my legs on again. So, the only thing they can do is void the game or, you know, offer up a draw or something, but it doesn't really affect the NFC. So realistically, you probably have 16 teams. You're like, maybe get your opinion, but just stay over there. But the AFC, you'd be getting all the heads, even the guys that aren't in the actual playoffs. This is in my head. I don't know. I'll throw to you boys and see what you think. But this is almost a question without notice. I'd be saying, you put them all together and say, look, this is scenario A. We void the game, just go by win percentage. On the games that they've played, which happens a lot in local football. B, we give them a draw, and then, you know, just play it as it was a draw. Like, I think they're the only two. You can't give them a win because that throws everything out of balance. But I feel like they're the only 2 scenarios. And then just say, look, there's 16 of you, work it out. Which ones do you want?
Well, what does a draw do for their win percentage? Does it?
It would work well for, like, I know I was going through this last night with a mate of mine because the Ravens are still a chance to pass the Bengals. With a draw, it's a half a game, really. I don't think they can. Okay. I don't think they can pass them if they have that half a game.
Okay.
And I reckon it'll keep them both, maybe not the Bagels, but it definitely keeps the Bills in a chance to overtake the Chiefs if they do lose.
Well, the Bagels just need to beat the Ravens this week, and then that takes that.
Then that's a null. Well, that was the other thought. Do they just play this week's games and then say we'll deal with any problems if they arise?
Because if the Chiefs win,
it's null and void. It doesn't matter.
AFC, don't they?
I reckon that's
and the Bills have already clenched.
I think that's what they're going to do anyway. I reckon they'll try and just play out this week's games and then just make a decision whether they give them the draw, which to me seems more likely, or if they give them percentage. Because like you said, there's a couple of options there where no matter what happens, it's going to be null and void. So definitely, I reckon, well, obviously it's not up to us. It should be. It should be up to us, but it's not. I reckon they just games and then go from there.
cross the bridges as they come.
Musty friends.
Yeah, if it was the Australian game, then I imagine then we would be consulted. But unfortunately, we're only big down here at the moment, especially on Twitter. Especially on Twitter.
Now.
Yeah, we're growing. We're growing. I don't. Is there anything else that we need to? I don't know.
No, like, and I think,
as
you said, like, we're a few days removed from it now. We can kind of talk about the football side of it, not like fucking 5 minutes after the fact, like Steve Taylor's. But
there was another guy on Twitter. I don't know if you saw, but he tried to come out and actually blame. Was it T. Higgins that he tackled? He's like, nah, he lowered his shoulder. I'm like, mate, it happened that quick.
Yeah.
T. Higgins has copped far too much. T. Higgins has copped far too much hate, like on Twitter and the social media world. So also like a shout out to him that he hasn't done anything wrong. He was just playing the game. It could have happened to anyone. It's just unfortunate that he was the one who was carrying the ball, but it really does not come down to him. And anyone who's saying it
by no
probably
means
should
a
be on.
dirty hit or anything like that, was it? Like,
no,
that was
absolutely not.
All the commentary from people that know football were like, this is a run of the mill, standard football play. I think, again, we talk about it a bit, but I think it was on the Pat McAfee show, but they talk about the strike zone. Like, because they don't want head-to-head clashes, they say, like, you want to tackle like this area here, like, so
where the pads are. Aim for the pads.
Exactly right. Like, so it's, essentially it's a tackle to the right, the strike zone, the right area. So.
Well, but it wasn't even he laid the tackle. T. Higgins didn't tackle him. Like, he got tackled.
Well,
so
that's it. But no, but like,
it's just carrying the ball.
Higgins didn't do anything untoward or anything like that, did he?
No, absolutely. And that's, I could not, when I saw that, I was like, you have got, I don't know who the bloke was, but I'm like, you cannot have played any type of sport ever.
Rocks in your head.
Yeah. And like you said, I didn't know that T. Higgins has copped it on social media too. Like, that's disgusting because it's, even though he's the opposition, that's going to affect him just as much as, like, he was there. He was part of it. He was one of the first guys. I can't remember which might have been Mixon, the running back. He kind of jumped out of the way, and those two are like, they're the ones that are like, fuck, something's wrong. So
this doesn't look good. Yeah,
this is not a natural, like, I only speculating, but there could have been the eyes roll in the back of the head, kind of that stuff where you look at him and you're just like, nah, this is wrong. Something's not right here.
Isn't good.
It's not a standard concussion, even, like something. So.
And that's the thing with Higgins. He's already going to be carrying so much guilt anyway, even though it wasn't his fault. Just natural. That's a natural human instinct. You've caused someone to have an injury, especially a severe injury in this case. You're going to be carrying so much guilt anyway. So then the fact, like, I really hope he's not looking at any form of social media right now because, like I said, there is far too much stuff out there. So many people protect him as well, which is good, like us, going into bat for him because it was just a normal standard football play. But I really hope he's not diving into it because you'd already be hurting as it is. Like, you don't want to do that. Like
100%.
You don't want that to happen to you, to be in that unfortunate circumstance where you involved in a freak accident, not causing, you're just involved in it.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. There was other games that were played, a couple of big ones, especially for my lads. But you boys have picked the two that you, well, Danny, I know why you picked your game, but two games that are impacting this weekend. So I think Carts went first last week. Danny, what have you got for us, mate?
I'll start with the one that I don't want to start with. The Philly Eagles absolutely dropped the ball completely with
what happened to the
20
birds,
to 10
mate?
to the
What
Saints.
happened to the birds?
Oh, mate. It's really hard to sort like an eagle when you're surrounded by two. In this case.
Or Gardner.
And I really like him, and I feel like if he was on any other team, he's probably not even a second string. He played terrible against Dallas, but he did a few mistakes. But it wasn't just on him, in all fairness. I think Philly got sacked more times this game than they had the whole prior season. I think she threw like a really bad the last drive, which they could have got back, and it actually ended up a touchdown for the Saints. And there was a complete miscommunication. Like AJ Brown see, like, okay, Da Vinci obviously just didn't look out hit at the moment, and then through that deception game, just really ideal. I don't feel when all we need was this one win. This was the one. If we had won this, then Giants you can. But I think it's like if Jalen Hurts going to come back to make sure they clinch this number 1 seed to get them that extra week off, or they're going to try and who have already clinched, so they're probably going to be playing. I'm not sure to you boys. What do you reckon's going to happen?
I think I don't know how he's feeling, but I know he's going to want to come out and play. But I don't know, I'd still be leaning on the side of you're in the playoffs. I guess a week off. If he's borderline, it might be worth the risk. You know, if you can get to a lead, then bring him out. Yeah, that is a tough one. I don't know how you'd go, Carts.
Is it a shoulder injury?
Yeah, sprained shoulder.
Yeah, throwing arm.
Throwing arm.
Yes, I don't know. I'm going to say yes.
Yeah, like it's always
about
the risks to reward. Yeah, so it's always about risk to reward. It, you know, the risk of re-injuring it as opposed to the reward of, well, what is the reward? Do they need to win out? You know, or because they'll still, what is it? They can drop to wild card. Is that right? If they lose.
Why don't we do this? I've got the standings.
Yeah, so
zooming up.
They're already in.
I think the Cowboys. If the Cowboys win,
yeah,
Cowboys win, Eagles lose. The Cowboys can take.
Cowboys get number 1.
The division, yeah. So then they'll drop to wild card. So then that takes away home games, doesn't it?
Yeah, but if you're on the first seed, here we go. The first seed, you get a week off as well. The first, and everything. If you win, it goes through Philly. So looking at this, hopefully, I don't know. I'm hoping that YouTube can actually see this as well. We've got a little bit extra. So 13-3 Philly. So if they do lose, Dallas beat you guys, didn't they?
Yeah. That was the first Minshew game where he did play incredibly well, but not so much this time.
Yeah, that's right. So they would have the tiebreaker over you guys. So they would jump you. And they got a better divisional as well. So they would jump you guys. So you go down to the 5 seed.
Yeah, which is
so the divisional comes into play. Yeah. So So that drops them down to wild card.
Yeah. So you'd be playing Tampa in Tampa instead of getting a week
Which is not
off.
what. Which is probably leads into my next game, but we get obviously as a
the risk versus reward is pretty big, then, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Like you don't want to be playing Brady in the playoffs in the first round, and you don't want that to be Hurts' first game back either.
Yeah.
So if he's all right to go, which he probably will, he'll probably try and push forward and go. I think he's just got to go. Off to see if it's an aggravation. I hope that a week off can then help him in the following game. But yeah, you definitely don't want. You don't want to be playing Brady first round player.
Well, that's it. Manage his reps as best you can. Try and get out to a bit of a lead, and then bring him off and
then
try
and get mentioned. Comes down. If the Giants aren't playing, if the Giants aren't playing the starters.
Which that's more talk.
Touchdown lead. They swap. Yeah, that is top Giants looking at not playing this out. Let's try and rest them for the playoffs. Well, then just guarantee yourself that win. That's why I'm leaning anyway.
Yeah, I'd be the same.
Yeah. Before you do go on to that second game, Danny, I did. It's kind of a double-edged sword for you guys with this loss because that helped New Orleans win-loss, which actually puts you guys, I don't know, I reckon it was 5 or 6 in next year's draft, now up to 10. And like you still get a pretty good player at 10, but there's not 5 or 6.
Quick comments on that, like right from the jump, but I was too busy focusing on my Minshew get. But yeah, so I had this game marked for take down because we need to beat the Saints, and the Saints had a worse record, so we get a better draft pick. Anyway, and the fact that Hurt went down and Minshew came out, it was like, it's easy. You played so well against us, it'll be fine. And it was at home. Because they it's the first time Philly all year. Philly fans are notorious for being bad as like big booers as it is. Probably the field. Isn't necessarily going to help the confidence in the second half. But no, it's not Philly fans. But...
Yeah. All right. What's that second game?
Second game I had was 10 bucks, but it's just we thought Brady had a chance to not make the playoffs. He goes out and falls out. He threw 430 long touchdowns to Mike Evans. So before this game, the Bucs had only had 2 passes for 30+ air yards. And not today. Within he hit all 3 for all 30, all in touchdowns, all to my. So just when you think that Brady might not be getting there, he goes bang. And then after that, they managed to clinch the slot in the playoffs.
Single Brady. He comes out to ball.
Well, I've got Mike Evans in my fantasy team, and he's been a bit up and down this year. Like he'll be on the field, off the field. He scored 50 points on the weekend just quietly, so that's huge. But stayed out on the ground and dominated. He's obviously got a good connection with Tom, and they dominated. Like, what do you have? 3 touchdowns, you say?
Yeah, 3 touchdowns.
Yeah.
All long passes as well. All him looking over his head, like waiting for the ball to land perfectly in his arms. It was phenomenal. It was a phenomenal game to watch. It's always good to watch Brady. Yeah. Brady doing Brady's things. It's anytime you can watch an elite athlete of their sport. Really ball out. It's always going to be good. On Mike Evans, he's the first player in NFL history to begin his career with 9 consecutive seasons of 1,000+ receiving yards, and he got that in this game.
Ooh, there you go. Let's go, Mike.
Yeah, so his receptions were, the scoring ones were 63 yards, 57 yards, and 30 yards, which is phenomenal. It's absolutely phenomenal.
Big day on the tools.
What a game, yeah.
Yeah. All right, Timmy, what were your couple of games, mate?
I looked at the Seahawks and the Jets because they were both still playoff contention. The Seahawks got it done. They got up. What was the score there? Bear with me. 23-6. It was Gino's not biggest game. Had 183 yards, 2 TDs, but Kenneth Walker III, he went for 130 yards. I think it's his second or third game this year of 100+ rushing yards. So it's a huge year for him because he's still a rookie.
First year rookie, yeah.
First year rookie. So, he's had a really awesome year. He's put together some good tape. So he's had a really good year. But yeah, the Hawks still alive in playoff contention. I'm just having a look at the standings now. So yeah, the Jets losing that one, eliminated. They had a pretty hot start. I think remember it was the start of the year, like the Giants and the Jets were both undefeated round 3 or 4 or whatever, and we're like, "What? Who thought we'd be talking?
What is going on?" Yeah.
Unfortunately, the Jets missed the playoffs. I think it's their longest streak, like franchise history streak of missing the playoffs. Current streak that they've missed the playoffs. So not ideal for the Jets there. But the Seahawks are still alive, waiting on. They got to win on the weekend, and I think they need the Packers to lose.
Correct.
To the Lions. So,
but they are playing the Rams, so you'd think
the Seahawks will get that done, but then relying on obviously the results of your game. So they've done themselves every favor that they needed to do there, and just got to wait and see what happens with your game. And then the other game I was looking at was the Patriots versus the Dolphins. Patriots came away 23-21 winners, so they've kept their hopes alive. Obviously, we know Tua didn't play. Tua was still in the concussion protocol. Teddy Bridgewater started for the Finns and was going okay through a pick six. So the Finns were leading 14-7, I think, in the third quarter. Teddy's thrown a pick six towards the end of the third quarter and then actually injured his finger in that same play trying to make a tackle. So he had to come out of the game. And Skylar Thompson, so what's that? We're up to like a third string quarterback now for the Finns with Teddy and Tua out. So Skylar Thompson had to come on and try and salvage the game. Mac Jones had a pretty decent game, over 200 yards, 2 tutties. Did well for the Patriots. I sort of was watching the last quarter, and the Dolphins were sort of making a bit of a charge down the field, and they ended up scoring a touchdown and went for the onside kick. With a minute or 2 minutes left, and just couldn't pull off the onside kick, and so the Patriots were able to kneel it out. But the Patriots keeping their season and their playoff chances alive. I think sort of pending results. They're in the 7 in the AFC now. The Dolphins obviously sitting at 8, and Pittsburgh they're all sitting on 8 and 8 wins, 8 losses. So those 3 teams sort of fighting out for that last 7th spot this week, I think, by the looks of things.
Yeah, I'll go through my games, and then I think, Danny, you said you had some stats on who needs to do what, but we can go through, put it on the screen and actually go through who needs to win and lose next week. My games, we know which one I'm going to talk about second, but the first one was the Steelers and the Ravens.
It's so predictable.
Absolutely. Actually, there's 2 things I do want to mention beforehand. The first thing was we mentioned that last week was Christmas. I got a Christmas present. I forgot to put it up last week. It was from shout out to my mum and dad. They bought us. Why are you laughing?
No, good.
So they brought us a cheese board. They were very happy with themselves because it says fromage. So they said I needed to show the boys and share with them. They won't actually put it up in the background. I said no. But it says fromage cheese board.
That's so good.
So
I'm sure you boys would have seen as well my tweet to shout out to say that we're going live. Said come join us for a beer, wine, or for some fromage. So I'm glad the board's come out as well.
So the board, it's quite a fancy looking one. But mum was very happy because it actually says fromage on it. So
that's perfect.
That was the first thing. The second thing. Now, when I make these comments, Cardi, you should be all over this, I think. I'm gonna share the screen. I probably got it on the actual wrong screen. No, I have it on the right screen. It's all right. So last week I made a comment. Last week I made a comment about Derek Henry over 20 rush yards, and he got it. Right? We didn't put any money on it. It was paying over $2. That was last week's one. Then I said, coming into your game, the Raiders and the 49ers. I've gone off track, but I don't really care. I said, first game QB. Devontae Adams is going to living in it. Exactly right. I pay the bills, so shut up. I said Devontae Adams will have a day out. He'll have over 120. I don't know if you can see on that little screen there, Cardi. Can you read Devontae Adams' stats for me?
He's had 7 receptions for 153 yards and 2 tutties.
I believe that's
Devontae. I remember you talking about the new quarterback bump, but I don't know.
100%. I said Devontae over 120. I will go back and I will find it. I will put it on the socials because I said over 120. Ends up with 153. Matter because Cardi didn't put any money on it. So
no, but we had a winning multi anyway.
We did have a winning multi. Well done, Cards. So you will have the multi again, which we'll talk about later. So the first one, we'll get on that later. The first one, I don't want to go into the stats too much. It was just the game, the massive rivalry between the Steelers and the Ravens. Huge win in a last-minute steal by the Steelers. 2 reasons so they've really put a spanner in the works of the Ravens, who were fighting out with Cincinnati to be still the top, the number one, not the number one seed, but to win their division. So they've made it increasingly difficult. And I don't know how, but the Steelers are still in line to have a winning season for the 18th or 19th year in a row, which is incredible considering what they've actually gone through this year and having Kenny Pickett as a starter.
Let's go, Tom.
It's It is incredible to be. I don't know. They were pretty similar to the Packers. I reckon they're on a. Well, I don't want to say it because I'll be wrong, but they were.
It'd be good that their percentage after the bye, I think, would be where you want
huge.
To look.
Yeah. All right. We'll work that out later. But just shout out to the Steelers on a 16-13 win. Pickett, 168 yards with a touchdown, no interceptions. He's done all he needs to do. Najee Harris, huge, 22 carries, 111 yards. Mark Andrews, the tight end for the Baltimore Ravens, just the 9 receptions, 100 yards, just pretty standard effort by him. But huge win by the Steelers, and it keeps them in line for playoffs, which we'll go through in a second. The other game, obviously, I'm going to talk about. We all watched it. We all loved it. Rams versus Chargers. It was an incredible game. No, my boys, a little bit of a funny. You probably could have laughed then, boys. Give him a bit of something, but that's all right. It was my boys absolutely trouncing. Yeah, trouncing those Vikings. You boys both gave us absolutely no chance. I'm the only one who picked them against the spread. That's why Dave from Wallen said that TMac is the I can't remember what he said, the professional or the elite or whatever he is, the expert. That's exactly what he is, because I picked it. We jumped out early. We had a 105 yard.
The Raiders, though.
He was very up and about of you picking the Raiders, even though you lost. But anyway,
no, we still covered that.
You did cover, yeah.
It's the spread. Go to the spread.
It's
later as well. I can't wait to bring that up.
We will. I will just go through quickly. I'll go through quickly. So, yeah, a touchdown, a run-back touchdown, which is our first since 2011, I think, 105 yards. We had a pick 6. We were just all over the game. We were all over, and no one gave us a chance. Jones, another 111 yards on only 14 carries. He's had a bit of a dodgy ankle, and he's still just producing the goods. Kirk Cousins had an absolute shocker. He had 205 with a touchdown, but a couple of 2 or 3 interceptions, a strip sack against him, and we won 41-17, but they scored their 2 touchdowns in junk time when Rodgers was already off the field. So absolutely demolished them. And I said it last week, the Vikings are pretenders. So I would be licking my lips. Whoever against them in the first week, you be just smoking on the pipe, because you are going to be. It's almost a bye. Like, you're just walking into the next round.
Oh, massive call.
Look out.
Huge. Huge.
Pretenders, he reckons.
On the Packers. Yeah, they are. I'm going to find where they are. I'm not streaming it on the thing anymore, am I? No, I will in a minute. I'll get the standings up and we can quickly talk about who needs to do what. So, Danny, you said you've got the list, or we're just going to talk through it?
Yeah, let's just talk through it, because I have
bits and pieces.
All right, so we'll start with the AFC, which I'm all across the NFC. Here we go. Put it up. Can you boys see it?
Sure can.
Cool. So Kansas City and the Bills have clinched their divisions. And like we said, we're pretty sure Kansas win. I don't know who they're playing. That does make it.
They are they're playing the Raiders, so they're every chance to lose.
The Raiders. Okay. So they'll walk home.
Walk straight through.
Yeah, they'll walk out. So, all funny business aside, if they do beat the Raiders, then all of this chat about them losing the top spot is null and void anyway.
They really should.
They should, yeah, because they'll be 6-0 in the division. So they should clinch the number 1. But the Bills will be right at number 2. Cincinnati has clinched as well. But like I said, they, depending on what the decision is, they could be taken over by the Ravens. I can't see it happening, but you never know. They actually play each other, so just give them, say, hey, who wins gets a spot. That might be the best way to do it.
Just win out, yeah.
Jacksonville play against the Titans, and the winner takes that division. So that hasn't been clinched, and that's it's not the only spot. The 7 is still available, but I wonder if Jacksonville can. No, if they win, they're in. No, one of the other teams will win. So if you lose, you're out in that game, I imagine.
Yeah, I think so.
Yes. So Jacksonville Titans, you win, you're in. The Patriots with a win at Buffalo, but they can also the Dolphins and the Steelers.
Yep.
by the Jags. So, like, absolutely, there's multiple things that need to happen for the Patriots to get him. If the Patriots lose, if the Patriots lose, the Dolphins will clinch the spot with a win against the Jets. The Steelers, meanwhile, would clinch if they defeat Cleveland Browns and both the Patriots and the Dolphins lose.
Who are the Patriots playing?
Stand by.
I thought the Patriots were playing Miami.
Bit of padding.
I thought so too. So then that last statement wouldn't really make much sense. But cool. You sent me.
No, the Patriots played Miami. Just gone. The Patriots are playing the Bills.
Yeah, just gone. Yeah, it does.
Yeah, we knew that. So on.
Yeah.
Go on, as you were.
Yeah, well, that was the end. So that's the end of there. So yeah, the Steelers
Would clinch if they beat the Browns
and both Patriots and Dolphins lose.
Okay. Right.
So how do the Titans get in?
Titans just need to beat the Jags.
And then they need the Patriots, Dolphins.
No, the Titans, if they beat the Jags, they'll take top spot in the AFC South.
Will they?
Yeah, because it'll be.
So the players last week because they knew it was going to come this game.
That's right. No, yeah, we talked about that.
They'll both be 8 and 9 if they win, but the Tennessee will have a better divisional record, so they'll go above them. Whoever wins will have a better divisional record.
Yeah, makes sense.
So that's why they'll go in. So that's their ones, and then whoever pretty much wins out of the Pats, Dolphins, Steelers in that order will clinch. So that's a bit more, a lot more movement to go. The NFC, I am all over because obviously my Packers are hunt, and there is a little bit of, we'll get to that in a second. There's a little bit interesting the order, but we have the best chance. So it is interesting also at the top because, like we said, Eagles didn't clinch the number 1 seed. So the Eagles, the 49ers, and the Vikings and the Cowboys all still have a chance to actually clinch the top spot or take the top spot. But I imagine while the Eagles win, it doesn't matter. If they lose and San Fran in the second spot, they get it. Minnesota's in the third spot. Obviously, they need the 2 above them to lose. And then Dallas needs the 3 above them to lose, and then they can get in if they win. So there's still 4 teams vying for the top spot, that's huge going into the last week. So it makes me wonder, like Tampa Bay can't move. Do they rest players like New York has suggested, who are also in the 6th spot? They're stuck. They're not going any higher or lower than 6. So Tampa and New York, would you start resting players? Like Tom, do you give Tom a rest?
I'm still of the opinion you want to go in momentum, putting your best foot forward, getting systems down pat, go in all guns blazing, baby. Yeah.
Fair enough.
Reps.
Fair enough. Danny, would you
still want continuity between the team? I would definitely
play him for the first half. You don't want to get injured either. So if you're up big or if it's looking like you're going to lose big, either way, it doesn't matter. You want to be dragging them off the field.
You don't want
a silly fourth quarter injury. It's going to play off.
Yeah. No, fair enough. So the interesting bit that I was talking about, so the Seahawks are currently in the 7, Detroit in the 8, and the Packers are at 9. But the Packers have the easiest route in because if we win, we'll have a better conference record than the Seahawks. So we'll have the same record, but we'll have a better conference record. So that's why we would jump straight over them. We'd obviously jump Detroit because we beat them. So Seahawks need to win and need Detroit to win. Detroit need to win and need the Seahawks to lose if they're to get in.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure the Seahawks playing before.
Yes.
Seahawks.
Yeah.
The Lions Seahawks win. The Lions eliminated anyway.
Yeah. So the Packers and the Lions have been flexed to we're the last game of the weekend. So the Lions will know their fate beforehand. If who they playing, the Rams are able to get the win, it makes for an absolute thriller on Sunday night at Lambeau.
Yeah, so that's almost what you're hoping for.
Yeah, it's still depend on our game because obviously Detroit wins, and even if the Seahawks do win, it still depends on our game. So it's a cracking last game of the year to have.
Yeah, it makes sense why they flexed it.
Correct, and that's why it's going to be so good to watch. My boys get the job done. Go from 4-8 to 9-8, just flying into the finals. So can't really.
You and all your Fromage heads would be celebrating like no tomorrow.
Yeah. So if it finished as it was now, and the Packers move into the 7 because we're gonna, the Packers would be playing the 49ers. Sorry, I'm going to give your Eagles the win. I'm going to say that they clinch the top spot. So you'd be happy with that, Danny.
Don't jinx us.
I'm not gonna. I'm just saying. It's more about the Vikings playing the Giants. So the Giants are going to have pretty much a bye, walk straight through. How good's that for the Giants?
The Giants will be stoked. I don't know if you saw, but it was shared on the AGS Twitter. The Giants coach speaking in the locker room afterwards about how much of a wrap up he was giving all the boys for how they played and what it means and where they're going to be going, like getting their spot in the playoffs and stuff like that. So it's a really good watch if you haven't seen it. So jump on our Twitter and find it because we retweeted it today.
I am all over that Twitter. Oh, Brian.
Dable, is it?
Dable, yeah. All over it.
Yeah.
All right, we have been going for nearly an hour already, so that's flying. There's not much in the way of Dr. Danny's injuries report. So the first one, we'll just kind of skip through it. So the Finns are preparing to play Skylar Thompson, which you mentioned, over Teddy Bridgewater because he's in concussion protocol. Is that what I heard?
Tua's still in concussion. Teddy's got the injured finger.
Okay. Right. So that's
he dislocated his finger.
Yeah. Thanks, Doctor. On the throwing hand. We're just going to skip through these. So last week we forgot to mention, and it's still incredible that Cart's got his win in his multi because Tannehill actually went on IR before the game. So Joshua Dobbs will play again, and he'll play again this week. But that's going to make it interesting going into the actual playoffs if Tannehill's on IR because he's going to miss at least 4 weeks. So I'll be throwing all my money at the Jags. That's all I'm going to say about that. But it'll be interesting. Well, they played. Josh Dobbs played against the Cowboys where you got the win last week.
Yeah, but I was all on Cowboys. Anyway.
You were, but it could have changed things. Who knows? Anyway, and the Bears in a game that doesn't really matter, I think. I can't remember who they're playing, but Justin Fields is out he might be in concussion protocol, but he's missing a shot. Sorry, what?
Injured hip.
Yeah, that's what I meant. That's in the same vicinity. Yeah, so they might actually get the W. You never know. But he misses out on getting a QB rushing mark. Do either of you read it and know what the mark is?
It's 1,200.
So you're 60.
2019. He's 63 yards short.
He won't get it, so who cares?
Sure.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, and the one last bit of news that we can talk about, it's just a little bit of I think he was a bit stiff, but Kayvon Thibodeau, which I believe was the number 5 pick for the Giants.
I meant to say, let's get Danny to pronounce this guy's name. Damn it.
Did he hear me? How does he say his name, Danny? No, your internet shit. We lost you for that bit. Yeah, he got it. There we go. Nah, well, you done well. Yeah, I apologize.
You guys were very silent. I was like,
Nah, you got it out. You got it out. But he's
French. I would have nailed that.
Oh yes, very fromageous, very fromageous. So he sacked Nick Foles, wasn't it? Yeah, and Foles went down a little bit injured. The commentators understood that he was injured, but Thibodeau did not. Laying pretty much next to him, doing a starfish or a snowman in the snow. He copped a bit of flack for it. I genuinely think he didn't even know that he was injured. He was just celebrating the sack, which 10 out of 10 people do. Do you think Carts that the flack that he copped was fair or not?
That is incredible. He's so good. He was doing
Danny.
Tilted towards where the play was laying. He knew.
I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt.
Did not care. He's said no, but he's that player was down. So
Danny's called bullshit.
Yeah, I think you're being very generous, Macca. I reckon he had a bit of an idea, and I reckon, yeah, he's crossed the line a little bit there.
Nah. I did see him actually.
His lifeless corpse.
I will say that I did see he went to the bench, and by this time I'm presuming he did know, and he did the fall asleep. That might have been a little bit of a line.
Hit him with the Steph Curry and fall asleep. Get out of here.
So I reckon he probably knew then.
He also quoted, "After a sack, you celebrate." And then it's then he paused, and then he's like, "I think when I did realize he was hurt, that's when I started to get up." So he's like, I think, I don't know, but I think when I realized he was hurt, I decided to get up.
I'm pretty sure when I worked out that he was injured, but then I went to the bench and did that anyway. So
that might have been the point where he's like going to sleep and he's playing next to him. He's like, "Bro, he's injured."
Bro, he's actually hurt. So yeah. All right. So that is the news. We got through that nice and quickly. We'll get on to this. No, Danny, do you want to speak about last week? How did we go in our games last week?
So last week we got a massive Cards, you got a massive shout out for getting the Raiders right. Our mate Dave from Wallen shouted you out for that. But unfortunately, TC24, you came in last this week.
Oh no!
You won one of the earlier weeks, and now this is it. You came in last, and me, who I was giving myself so much shit. That was before I actually went through and added up the scores. All right, so Cards TC24, you got 8 right out of the spread. I've dramatically improved. I got 9. And TMac, you stayed steady as always with a 9. So
I didn't lose.
No, yeah, but I wouldn't call you an expert. If you get the same score as the work experience kid, you need to lift your game.
Yeah.
Jeez, I'm off by 1. That's not too bad.
Yeah, you've copped an absolute pasting for losing by 1.
I need this. I need this. Let me have this win.
Your week. It's your week.
Yes, well done, Danny. You get a fromage with the family tour board sent to you this week. Well done. Sponsored by Salt and Pepper.
Beautiful, thank you. Shout out to Salt and Pepper. Thank you very much for the fromage board. I can't wait to put a big stinky blue on that.
Yeah, absolutely. And you have to listen to Salt and Pepper, the tunes, while you're eating off a Salt and Pepper board. All right?
Makes sense.
Makes sense.
Only
Makes
option.
sense.
Only option.
Yeah. All right, let's get through this week's games. And Cardi, I do appreciate how last week actually went. It was nice and quick, and we got through it. I reckon that's the way we roll.
I think we zipped through, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So the games that have been, essentially they've been flexed, but they're on Saturday night now. We've got the Chiefs up against the Raiders. Chiefs win out. They win the AFC. Chiefs are 8.5-point favorites.
Ooh, that's a big line. Who's going to go first, Cardi?
I won.
Go first. It's your week.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to win again. I've got faith in myself. No, give me the Chiefs.
I'm going to back the Raiders to stay close.
Aren't the Raiders playing their third string quarterback?
I'm going to take the Chiefs.
Stidham was grouse.
Woo!
I don't think the Chiefs are playing for a lot more than what we are.
Probably fair.
Next up, still a Saturday game. The Titans are heading to Jacksonville to take on the Jags. The Jags. 6.5-point favorites.
Winning the Jags. Go the Jags.
6.5 points for the Jags. Yep.
Yeah.
I'm also on the Jags. Yep.
Yeah, I'll take the Jags too, please.
Beautiful.
All right, our Sunday games. The Jets eliminated are heading to Miami. The Finns need to win. The Jets are 0.5-point favorites.
Oh, what?
In Miami.
That's, being the third string quarterback.
I think the quarterback issue there, yeah. Danny boy.
I think the Finns have more to play for here, so I'm going to take the Finns.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, Finns for me. Browns are heading to Pittsburgh. Steelers 2.5-point favorites.
Cleveland had a big win, but I'm enjoying Kenny Pickett, so I'm going to go the Pittsburgh Pirates.
It gives the Steelers.
Yeah, pity for me, please. Absolute nothing game. Probably shouldn't even worry about picking it. But the Texans up against the Colts. Colts are 2.5-point favorites.
Danny?
Yeah, sure. I'll take the Colts.
I'll go Texans. Although I will stuff up their
too,
number one pick if they get it.
I'll take the Texans. The Bucks are heading to Atlanta, taking on the Falcons. Falcons are 4.5-point favorites. What?
The Bucks don't need to play.
Yeah, maybe it has come out that they are resting players and we're just behind the times.
T-Mac?
It's been too big of a news day with everything else that's going on.
Correct. I'm going to back the bookies and say Atlanta.
Yeah, can't argue against the bookies. Give me the Falcons. Go Birds.
I can. I'll take the Bucks.
Yeah, very cool.
The Panthers are heading to New Orleans. Again, a nothing game. Both teams eliminated. New Orleans are 3.5-point favorites at home.
Is it on me? Sorry.
Danny.
Is it on me? Yeah, I'm going to take the Panthers just because I want New Orleans to lose my draft pick.
I'm going to go New Orleans just because Danny went to Panthers.
I will take the Saints too, please.
Nice.
Pretty big game. The Patriots are heading to Buffalo. Bills are 6.5-point favorites.
Such a hard game to see how they would come out. And Bill Belichick with a win and in almost kind of mentality. All right, I'm going to go New England.
I'm going to take the Patriots because I feel like I'm sorry. Whoa, take it back. I'm taking the Bills because they've got so much to play for right now. Absolutely pump the brakes. Yeah, no, they've got way more to play for. Like, they'll be playing for tomorrow. They'll be doing everything they possibly can to get this win and probably try and dominate.
I think the Bills too, please. The Vikings taking on the Bears in Chicago. The Vikings 7.5-point favorites here.
Danny.
Massive favorites, but I'm going to take the Vikings.
Go to Bears.
I will take the Vikings.
You would.
And I did. Ravens heading to Cincy, taking on Maxi Rampling's Bagels. They are 7.5-point favorites over the Ravens. Danny boy.
In Cincy.
No, T-Macky boy.
Sorry. Yeah, it's me, T-Macky boy. T-Mac AGS on Twitter. Go the Bagels. They're fresh.
I'm also taking the Bagels. They are fresh, as T-Mac said.
Give me them bagels, please.
Yum, 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 yum.
Giants are heading to Philly to take on your Birds, Danny boy. Your boys are 13.5-point favorites. Wowie.
That's because the Giants are resting everyone. Like we said, we don't know if Hurt's coming back or not. And Eagles need to show the league that they deserve that number one spot. So give them to me at 13.5.
13 is a lot of points. I'm going to say go the Giants. I reckon Philly will still win though, Danny, just so you know.
Give me the Giants to cover, please.
Yeah.
We've got the Rams heading to Seattle to take on the Seahawks. Gino and the boys, 6.5-point favorites.
You can't not. It has to be Gino and the lads, doesn't it?
It does.
Are
you taking the Seahawks, Danny?
Yeah. Seahawks.
Yeah. I will take them too, please. All three of us on the Seahawks there. The Chargers heading to Denver to inflict one last little bit of pain on Russell for the year. Broncos are 2.5-point favorites.
What? Maybe the Chargers again can't go. They can't go up and down, so who knows who there's going to actually playing. But the Denver Broncos still suck. So I will agree with Danny.
Chargers too, please. What we're looking at here. The Cardinals heading to San Fran. Oh, boy. Big line. 49ers are 13.5-point favorites.
Is it me? San Fran. Yeah, San Fran will cover it, though. I think.
2 touchdowns.
Yeah.
What do you reckon, Danny? You can hear
Yeah.
scribbling like furious.
Yeah, I'm just trying to keep up. Just keep some
Don't miss that.
Hey, we zip through them.
I'll take 49.
Yeah, give me the 49ers, please. Second last game, we've got the Cowboys heading to Washington to take on the Commanders, who I think, lost and got themselves eliminated last week. Cowboys playing for potentially the top spot of the NFC, 6.5-point favorites.
Danny?
It's a smaller line than I was hoping. I really wanted to pick against the Cowboys because if the Cowboys lose, then it really benefits us. And the Commanders did beat us earlier in the year and gave us our first loss. Give me the Commanders just from the heart, not from the mind. Give me the Commanders.
Yeah, Washington playing their third string, so give me Dallas.
I will have the Cowboys, please.
Got faith.
Our last, as we alluded to earlier, probably the biggest game this round. The Lions heading to Green Bay, Wisconsin, to take on your Cheeseheads.
The boys.
You boys are 4.5-point favorites.
Only 4. Yeah, no, they are flying, these Lions, aren't they? I actually really like the Lions, so I just got steps. That's awesome. It almost sickens me to say that if the Packers don't make it, I'd almost hope that the Lions do. We are going to cover more than 4.5, so it's sad to beat them, but yeah. I'd rather them than Seattle. Sorry, Carts. I know you have a soft spot.
Whoa, that's fair.
I also prefer the Lions over Seattle, but I've gone against you and the Packers far too many times. So
do it again.
Do it again.
No, I'm going to take the Packers. It kills me, but I'll take them.
I think I'm the same. I need the Packers to lose for the Hawks to make it, but I've gone against them too many times. I got to take the Packers this week.
We're fucked. Shit.
Hey, look at us becoming the pack.
Get around the boys.
Is that what you call yourself?
The pack.
We put the Moz on, yeah.
The pack's pack, though.
If you put the Moz on us, wow, we will take Devontae back at a cheaper price.
No, I saw an article saying it doesn't matter if Carr's there or not. He's happy to stay at Vegas. So
yeah, I heard that.
But
yeah, not sure. We'll see. I do feel bad.
I've also heard rumor Gino for Carr.
Ooh, interesting.
Which would really suit you, Carts.
Oh, I would love that.
Yeah, imagine that. That'd be
that actually came out to shout out Lee Thompson at old Fire Station 42. That came from him.
Hey, Tomo.
Yeah, massive NFL fan.
Big
Hopefully
listener.
Massive. Yeah, well, I'll send him this episode and we'll see. I'll let you know.
Nice.
Next week.
Nice. I do. Before we wrap things up, I just want to shout out again to our main man Brendo for coming up with one of the funniest things that I've ever seen with Carlesi. Carlesi. I don't know if either of you boys have it written down. Mine's on my phone, which is staring at me.
That needs retweet it.
Yeah, that was Danny can put it out. That was the funniest thing. He's very happy with his Chiefs. And yeah, Carlesi, the blah blah blah. Yeah, whatever.
You're saying it wrong. You can't brag on me for getting players.
Yeah, sorry, guys. I'm trying to go. See you later, Bryce. I will openly admit that I saw about 4 minutes of Game of Thrones. So.
That is not enough. That is poor form on your behalf.
No, the bit that I did watch, I'm pretty sure it might have even been her who was having sex with her brother and a midget got pushed out of a window. And I was like, what the fuck am I watching?
So much of what you said was wrong then.
Much of what he said was wrong.
But I was like, this isn't for me. I might watch something else.
Stick to football. You seem to know a whole lot more about it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right, boys. We have done well. The eyelids are just enough open here. 9 o'clock local time. I believe the live stream has worked. I will watch it again just to make sure. But well done to Danny on taking over our Twitter, making it more elite than I ever did.
Well done, Danny boy.
Thank you. Thank you. I was actually never going to announce that I was the one who took over Twitter because I like to talk in the third person. So AGS is the third person.
Yes.
Keep it going.
Incognito.
It's an unnamed producer.
Yeah, exactly right.
Unnamed producer.
Could be Maxi
Danny
rambling.
Webb.
Could be Maxi
But,
rambling.
also, we will have a multi for Saturday's game. One of Saturday's games.
Yes.
Probably. I'll choose.
Yeah, it is your multi. You did get the W, and I was just about to mention it, but you are like the good man that you are. You did the right thing. We will have a multi. We'll put it all over the socials, though.
With it being week 18, should we take a multi each?
All right. Yeah, fair enough. A bonanza. All right. So over the weekend, you can pick a game over the weekend, and we'll put it up on the socials. All righty.
Beautiful.
Sounds like a plan. Good work, boys. Make sure if you do enjoy this podcast, be a friend, tell a friend. Make sure that you tell everyone from Salt and Pepper that you love them. Let them know about our podcast. Give us a 5-star rating. Apparently, with our Twitter, as well as all of our podcast stuff, it puts it up for people to see. I don't actually know how it works, but it's good to leave a rating, leave a review, tell us how good we are or how shit we are. That's fine. I'll take the abuse. Leave that little dumbbell thing so you know when we're on. It could be late. Notification. That's it. Find us on all of the socials. You boys have to say yours again, but Twitter, AGS AU Podcast. I am TMac AGS. Tim Cardy AGS.
Yep.
And Danny Webb AGS.
Yeah, and you absolutely nailed it. And in the Twitterverse, we are more active than ever. So follow us on Twitter.
100% we are.
Follow us on Twitter. Have a bit of banter. Get involved.
I just thought too, we should update all our handles to AGS AU.
Roger. Will do.
Roger that.
Which we
Done.
will do.
So find me at TMac AGSAU. Also, Instagram is anygivensunday.au. TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, Dabble are all Any Given Sunday Australia. Thank you very much for watching. I believe this was better than the previous 2 weeks, so we're only on the up and up. And as always, go my boys this week. We don't need to worry about the Raiders and the Philly. You can go and get stuff too. So go the Packers. Let's make sure that we
You said you want Philly to win.
No, I just think they will. I just think they will win. But I want my boys get the job done, and we are going to the playoffs.
Hey, good luck, Packers. Good luck.
Good luck, Packers. Good luck. Good luck, Mako. Good job.
That's the nicest thing you boys have ever said.